Tassel earrings are a major trend in 2025, and this tutorial will show you how to create a stylish pair in just minutes. But there's a trick to it. Getting all those pieces of chain on can be a little bit challenging, so I've developed a trick to make it easier for you. Hello, welcome to The Stylish Maker. My name's Carol. Today I'm sharing with you a relatively simple pair of earrings, but there's a trick to getting them right. Tassel earrings, or tassels in general, are pretty big in 2025, and I thought I'd share a nice quick pair of earrings that you can make in only minutes. In my Jewelry Trends episode for 2025, I highlighted quite a few pairs of tassel earrings, so I thought it was high time I made a pair. By the way, if you haven't seen that episode, I'll leave it linked below. They use just one technique and are super quick and easy. Now, I've already made my first one, and there it is. And this is what it looks like hanging up. Isn't it cute? Now I am going to give you some options on different ways to make this tassel earring so that you can make it uniquely yours. Here's the materials that I'm going to be using. I've got two of these electroplated beads. Now these are actually glass, but they're electroplated to look like silver, but you could use a silver ball or anything. Those are 6mm. I have a domed bead cap here. This one measures 8mm, so slightly bigger than my bead. And I have 9 pieces of chain. So for both earrings, you'll need 18 pieces of chain. Each piece of chain measures approximately 15 centimeters. Now don't stress too much about getting your measurements exactly the same. Within reason. Your earring will hang at different lengths anyway. And as I said, you'll need 18 pieces of chain. This is a 2x3mm cable twist chain in antique silver. And I thought that the antique silver went quite nicely with the bead cap and the bead, but you could do it in a bright silver, you could do it in a gold. It's completely up to you. I want you to individualize these earrings and make them your own. As well as my chain and my beads and bead cap, I'm going to need a piece of 20 gauge half hard wire. Now the reason I'm using half hard wire is because it's strong enough to make a loop and be sturdy. It's not going to come undone. If I was to use a dead soft wire, that might come undone. My loop might come undone. So a half hard wire is what I always use for making loops. If you've never made loops before, I'll leave you a link in the description box below for a tutorial all about making the perfect loop. As well as that, I have my ear wire, and that's it. Now I do have some different options for bead caps here, and I will talk to you about those. The first thing we're going to do is make our loop, and I'm going to take my wire and my flush cutters, and I'm going to make sure that I have a flush cut on the end of my wire, and you need to do this with every loop you make. When you cut your wire, if you cut with this side of your cutters, which is flat, you will get a flat cut. If you cut with this side of your cutters, you will get a pointy cut. So to make my wire nice and flat, pop the very end in, cover it so that it doesn't, the little piece you're cutting off doesn't fly away, and snip. Just pop your end in the rubbish bin before it gets in anyone's foot. That can be nasty, believe me, I know. And then I'm going to take my chain nose pliers. Now I want a loop that is slightly bigger than the norm because I've got a lot to go in this loop. So I'm going to make my bend about 1.3 centimeters from the end of the wire. Now I'm going to take my round nose pliers and I'm going to make a loop, and I'm going to put the bent part facing up and towards me, and then I'm going to take my pliers and put the wire inside the jaws. You want to make sure that the wire isn't sticking up. If you have the wire sticking up like that, you will not get a nice round loop. Now I am moving my wire further up the jaws of my pliers here so that I get a bigger loop. I'm just going to tuck my thumb there into the bend, and I'm going to push down and around away from me. When my hand won't turn anymore, I'm going to take the pliers out and I'm going to pop them back in on the lower jaw this time and keep turning. So there's my loop, and you can see it's centered on the wire, and it's centered on the wire because I made that bend first. And you can also see it's quite a large loop. Now I'm not going to do anything with my loop just yet. What I am going to do next is thread on my chain. And this is the trick. I'm going to take my chain and I'm going to fold it in half. Sometimes it's easier to pop your wire in the end link there, and that will give you an end link. All right, now I'm going to pick up my chain, thread that one link onto my little piece of wire here. So there it is. If we have a look at it up here, you can see that my chain is hanging at the same length. Now all I have to do is repeat that another 8 times.
Yeah, I trace the moments that I can't forget, but love will slip out of time. Darling, how do we become strangers? There are answers I can't find. Was
So there is the 9 pieces of chain on the wire. Now you may be wondering why I didn't put them inside the loop. And I am going to put them inside the loop now, but I didn't open the loop and trying to get them all in until I had them all on, and that is the trick. Honestly, if you are trying to get these pieces of chain into an open loop, they'll just fall off the other end and you'll spend all your time picking them up and putting them back on. If you're interested in making any of the jewelry I'm wearing today, I am wearing a pair of heart chandelier earrings that I made in a tutorial a long time ago, and I'll leave you that linked below. And I'm also wearing a 5-strand stretch bracelet, so I'll leave you the link for that. I'm also wearing a little brooch that I made from a button, and I did that in a tutorial as well, so I'll leave that one linked below as well. With the chain on, I'm going to put my finger and my thumb over the chain, and I want to still support this loop. The part that opens of the loop is at the top here, so that's the bit of the wire that came around and the end of the wire. I'm going to take my chain nose pliers and I'm going to hold the loop on the side like that and twist my hand down. Not too far. I only want the loop to be open as little as possible because I don't want them popping off the other end. Then very carefully I am going to pull all those pieces of chain down, and then I'm going to reverse it. So I'm going to take my pliers and I'm going to close up that loop. You may need to wiggle it a few times to get it in the right place, but you want it to be really well closed, because if it's not really well closed, the pieces of chain will fall off. There's my tassel. Now I can see there's one piece of chain there that's too long. All I need to do is snip it off, so I'm going to do that. To do that, I'm going to hold it like this, and I can see that this one is too long, and I'm just going to come in with my cutters and snip that off. And it went flying. I should have held it. Now next I am going to put on my bead cap, but I wanted to talk to you about the options available to you. So I chose this domed bead cap. I'll show you what that looks like on first. I really like it actually. I think it's quite simplistic. The chain gives this a lot of texture, and I like the smoothness of the dome. I think it gives a really nice finish. But if you don't have these bead caps, you could go with something else. If you're enjoying this tutorial, remember to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you won't miss anything, and give me the thumbs up. And even better still, if you would like me to email you every time I upload a new video, then sign up for my newsletter. That is linked below as well. This is a smaller bead cap. I'm not sure it's going to work. It kind of works. It has a lot of texture. You can't see the loop, so that's the most important thing. What you're looking for is a bead cap that is domed rather than flat. A lot of bead caps are just kind of curved, but you want one that's got a real dome on it. That way it will hide your loop and your tassels, the beginnings of your tassels. So that one kind of works, but I think it's out of proportion for the size of the chain. Now you could do this with shorter chain and that would work fine. Going to the opposite end of the scale, and I've got a really big one. Now this one actually looks really cool, but I think if I was using this one, I would use silver chain, not antique silver, because I think it would work better. This one is a really wide bead cap, and I wanted to show you this one because it doesn't work. I thought I'd hold this one up for you so you can see it doesn't really work. See, it's wobbling around there. If you would like more individual help with your jewelry making, then consider joining my membership over on the Style Makers Network. We do heaps of cool stuff over there. We do Zoom calls, I do live streams, there's more content, there's also ad-free videos. We do a monthly challenge, and this month's challenge is called May All Your Dreams Come True. All you need to do is make something that is inspired by your dreams, and then you share it on the feed, and then at the end of the month we get together for a Zoom call and we talk about the pieces that were entered into the challenge. It's lots and lots of fun, so I'll leave that linked below for you. I also have here a bead pocket, and this one looks quite cool as well, but it gives a completely different look. So you can see there it makes the earring look quite flat because it's quite a flat bead cap, or it's actually called a bead pocket. But that's quite a different look as well, so there's some options for you. I will do my best to link to something similar in the description. I can't always find exactly what I have in my stash, but I will try and find something similar. So make sure you check that out in the description box below. Okay, so I am going to finish this earring just like I did the other one. So I'm going to use my domed bead cap, and then I'm going to put my nice shiny bead on. And I think those two together work really well with the domed bead cap and the electroplated glass, because they look like they're made from the same material, even though they're not. It's a little bit of a trick, isn't it? All right, the next thing we need to do is make a loop on the top of this earring. So we're going to take our thumb and pop it on the top of the bead there and just bend the wire over so that you've got a 90-degree bend. Now we're going to take our flush cutters and we are going to cut at about 1 centimetre from that bend. Now I don't need to measure this because I've been doing this for years, but if you need to, you can pick up your ruler and measure the measurement from the bend to where you're cutting. Remember to cut with a flush cut, so hold both ends so your wire doesn't fly away. Now we're going to take a round nose pliers and make a loop, just like we did before, but this loop is going to be smaller. So I'm holding it with the wire, the cut wire facing up and towards me. I'm going to pop the wire inside the jaws of the pliers, make sure it's not sticking up, and press down, whoops, it's wiggling around, down and around away from you. And you can see it's on the lower jaw. Now you're going to take it out, turn your wrist back, put it back on the lower jaw, and turn some more. So there's something important about these two loops, is that they do need to be centered on the wire for your earring to hang properly. So there it is with its loop on the top, and there's only one thing left to do, and that is to add the ear wire. I know from experience that ear wires have the opening on the inside here, so I'm going to take my chain nose pliers and I'm going to hold it on the side like this so that I'm supporting the ear wire, and I'm going to take my forefinger and my thumb on the other hand and hold the ear wire. Then I'm going to twist my hand down and I'm going to pop on the loop of my earring, and I'm going to close up the ear wire, the loop in the ear wire, just by reversing the process. There it is, all finished. Here's my earrings on. They are very, very on trend this year, and I love the way they feel. They swoosh around. It's quite nice. The cool thing about these earrings is that you could individualize these. You don't need to make the chain so long. You could use a different bead cap. You could use a colorful bead. You could do anything with them. The possibilities are endless. So I want you to go forth and make chain tassel earrings, as many as you can, and let me know in the comments which of the bead cap options you preferred. Did you like the one I went with, or did you want something else? Thank you so much for watching today. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you again soon.